Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Limbus Company video. Today we're going to be using Magic Bullet Outis, because I feel like it, and she's just one of the coolest identities in the game. So since I haven't used her in a while, why not use her now, you know? I mean, one of the main reasons that makes her so cool is definitely the ego that she comes with. That's probably, in my opinion, the best part about her is actually using the ego, because the animations for that thing are just, they are some of the best animations in the game, especially if you're firing the sixth bullet specifically. That one's really good. And one of the big things about using her with the ego is that the ego is pretty much only really usable with this identity. And that's because without using this identity, she can't use all of her magic bullets, which means when you reach the 7th bullet, then her ego will actually end up killing her, which is not very, it's not something you want to do, honestly. So the only way to get around it is by actually using this identity, since she can consume the 7th bullet with her skill 3 instead of having to use the ego. And thus the only way to actually efficiently use that ego is by using it with this identity, but that's fairly obvious, so not much to say there. It's definitely nice that nowadays this identity isn't really required for burn teams, because her main niche is actually just giving burn decent damage. Which, yeah, you don't need her to do that anymore, considering the fact that Tremor Scorch now exists, which sort of does the same thing that Dark Flame does. Of course, Dark Flame is still generally better than Tremor Scorch, because you don't really want to be using... You don't really want to be using actual Tremor when you're focusing mostly on burn. And to that end, it does make Dark Flame a lot more valuable, because it just has a higher damage potential at that point. Because the only way Tremor Scorch actually does damage is when you're actually Tremor Bursting, and most just regular burn identities can't Tremor Burst, so it makes the DPS of Tremor Scorch significantly lower than Dark Flame. But it's still high enough to be usable. Especially if you're going all in on Tremor Scorch and have like all of the thumb identities, for example. There's also some identities that just straight up trigger burn for free, like Dawn Office and Claire. When you're using him with the other Dawn Office identities, he has the ability to trigger. He has the ability to manually trigger burn, which is definitely the better way for burn to actually do real damage. So that helps out quite a bit. So yeah, there are a lot of methods available to us currently that Dark Flame, to make Dark Flame not as necessary as it was in the past. It's still very strong, much stronger than pretty much all of the other effects individually. And so, yeah, Magic Bullet Outis, she'll always have a place in any burn team, so long as nobody else ever gets Dark Flame ever. But even, honestly, even that to some extent has been power crept, because, well, since she has the ego and the ego lets her apply Dark Flame with its passive regardless of what identity she's using, that definitely makes every other burn identity for Outis much better as a result. So realistically, Magic Bullet Outis' real niche is in AoE damage, because she has, I'm pretty sure she has the highest attack weight skill in the game, not counting egos. I think she's the only one with 7 attack weight. I could be wrong, but I believe she is. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, she's not the only one, because Indexy Song also technically counts, although he has, it is unfocused volley for him, so it's not quite the same thing. But in any case, she has some really good AoE damage. Very strong in any burn team. And her animations are just really, really cool. Some of the best in the game, honestly. Even though they are, like, very simple. It's just her basically shooting a gun, and that's it. But it's the coolest gun in the game, which definitely gives bonus points, in my opinion. The one most unfortunate thing about this identity, or not really this identity, but her ego skill itself, is the fact that I can't really spam it as much as I want to in this fight, or in any fight really, and that's because it doesn't have any attack weight naturally. Its attack weight is gained by her getting extra of her magic bullet. But yeah, can't really gain magic bullet on the first turn of a fight, which is the turn you want to most use any ego skill when you are soloing. And that definitely limits her ability to actually effectively use her ego skill when she is soloing. It's basically relegated to only being used when you don't need to use it, or to change her resistances if you're fatal to something like gloom damage, which we are, so there is a reason to use the ego skill. But honestly, the skill 3s alone are enough to pretty much win this fight on their own. 1 to stagger, 2 to finish them off. And that's not even mentioning the fact that this last one is the 7th bullet, which gets a massive power boost. Not quite enough to win the fight, but pretty close.
너희만 괜찮다면 혹시 우리를 도와줘? 아니야. 그건 선택의 순간이 필요하니까. 내가 정할 순 없겠네. 아쉽다. 그치? 개체들의 체력이 많이 깎여 나갔어. 괴로워하는 게 느껴지지 않아?
Alright, hopefully here I don't accidentally screw myself over and fire the 7th bullet with the ego. I think I have it set up so I'm using the 6th bullet, which is the best. It's the best bullet. Okay, no, never mind. We're using the 5th bullet. It's because we staggered the other guy before. Oh well. It is somewhat difficult to actually manage your bullet count properly when you are basically forced to clash, and that clashing is just... it gets cancelled by your attack weight staggering the enemy. So, yeah. If there was no staggers there, we would have used this. We would have fired the ego with the 6th bullet instead of the 5th. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. We don't get the coolest animation. But we'll get to see that later, hopefully. Get the music box and Helterfly's Dream. Very cool. I want Hell's Chicken here, because I think the drumstick works. You know, Sharp Needle and Thread is ridiculously good for Magic Bullet Outis, since it does so much more damage the more attack weight you do, but we're not taking that because we're not going to extreme mode. It would be so overkill, it's not even funny.
정보팀에서 준 자료와는 차이가 있지만 당황하지 말고 침착하게 대응하면 괜찮을 거예요, 관리자님.
One of the biggest weaknesses that this identity does have in terms of actually soloing is the fact that she doesn't have any burn count whatsoever in her kit. She barely even has burn potency, honestly, considering it's entirely... her ability to inflict it is entirely dependent on actually having Dark Flame on the target. And that's why I started with the Ember's Ego Gift, because that's one of the only ego gifts in the Mirror Dungeon that allows identities who don't have burn count the ability to apply burn count. This is pretty rough, honestly. I might... lose here, maybe. We'll see. I need to swap these around, actually. That lets us fire the 4th bullet with the ego, giving us even more damage, and then Scissors is good because these guys are fatal to slash damage, but we don't want to keep Scissors, considering the fact that it is making us fatal to sloth damage. There we go, that's much better. Much better. Although we're still on death's door. Not much we can do about that.
제압 개체에게 큰 피해를 준 것 같아. 이 팀의 직원다운 완벽한 공격이었어.
이것 봐. 있는 힘껏 찔러놓고 으깨놨지만 얌전히 잠들어 있어야 할 놈들까지.
Papa Bong is definitely a little scary considering all of the blunt damage that we got going on here, but Manor State Music Box makes everything before the first stagger totally inconsequential.
우리 쪽에 유리한 환경이 되었네. 잘 됐다.
And then the attack weight here makes it so that all of the mini bongies just
엄청난 공격이었어.
aren't much of a threat because we can just stagger them very easily while clashing against Papa Bongi himself. And yeah, just like that, we take absolutely no damage whatsoever. And just keep shooting the gun and you win. It's that easy.
대성공이야. 칼은 신나. 노래 부를까? 방금 공격은 좋았어. 이대로만 계속해보면 좋을 텐데.
징계팀 직원이라면 당연한 판단이긴 해. 잘했다는 칭찬은 생략하는 게 좋겠지? 완벽한 한 발을 위해 그 생을 기다리게 되어.
Dang. Almost killed Papa Bongi with the 7th bullet there.
대치 성공.
If it rolled heads, it would have.
그리고
Oh
정말
well.
멋진 활약이었어. 내일도 꼭 불러주기야. 세상이 평화로워지는
Deca Millennial Hearthflame? Honestly, not that good with this identity without any ability to
지금처럼 조용한
actually apply burn count. Lowest star is decent. And now let's see if we can get the best floor for this identity. Game says no. Gotta force it to give it to us. We'll stop by a bullet. It's funny how like pretty much all of the skill checks on this floor are like 14. They definitely chose that number specifically so Magic Bullet Outis could always succeed. And here we go. This is the best one. Which one is it? It's the Pierce one. Express the willingness to shoot the bullet myself. Huge. And here's like the best ego gift in the game for this identity. Pierce skills deal plus 50 divided by number of coins % damage. It just makes her skill 3 do 50% more damage. Even another skill 3. Let's go. Who needs the skill 1? Let's just get all skill 3s here. Oh, that's really good, actually, the Voracious Hammer. Specifically for this fight. Very good. Alright, here we go. Church of Gears. The best fight for this identity, because it's got the most enemies. I guess also the newest Walpurgis fight is also pretty good against the Bong Bongs. Maybe we should take that one too. I wasn't planning on it, but now that I'm thinking about it. Also, whoo, 1 HP. 1 HP! Holy. That's lucky. I thought I was dead there. Hardest turn of this fight is literally turn 1 because, yeah, just that reason alone. But the second you start getting even the smallest amount of attack weight, well, everything just starts to work out in the end. We can get the 6th bullet here. Except I don't think we can actually fire it, so... No point in using the ego skill. Or we would be able to fire it, but... It would only be against, like, one enemy. But yeah. Super satisfying to do that. But now we can fire the 6th bullet. Unfortunately, it doesn't get all of its coins. Because how many coins it has is dependent on how much burn the enemy possesses, so we only get 1 coin. Oh well. The only way you're going to get multiple coins is if the boss you're fighting is actually tanky. Which, the Church of Gears, they're not. They get one shot by pretty much everything. How much is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. We use all of the bullets here. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
이것 봐. 환상체를 제압하는 건 우리만으로 충분하잖아. 격발.
このまま行けば敵を食い止められます
격발.
제법 좋은 일격이군.
Super satisfying to just kill everything.
많아져야 할 텐데 말이야. 저도 더 노력해야겠네요.
완벽한 한 발을 위해.
Can't believe we got so unlucky with the speed roll there. I never look at speed when starting the turn, which is definitely... It's definitely one of the things that messes me up more often than not. But it's definitely strange to be so deep into a fight and be slower than the enemies at this point, because usually when you're in the mirror dungeon you have so many ego gifts that give you like haste that you're always outspeeding enemies after turn 1. Pretty easy fight against the Church of Gears, but like how else are you gonna get a fight that's as satisfying as that one? There's very few floors that actually showcases what this identity is actually capable of. And that's one of them. Unfortunately, she doesn't actually count as a character that has ammo, which is unfortunate. She should, but she isn't. Magic bullet isn't actually a bullet. So pretty much all of the bullet ego gifts do basically nothing with her. It's very sad. Oh, the rustic commemorative coin. Huge! It's a huge one. Nebulizer is good. Pen of Nostalgia would be nice, but eh. And a Fugality. Nice. Some good stuff here. Punctured memory. Decent. And that's it.
저거 뭐 하려는 거지?
I have to use an ego here to start. To turn off our gloom fatality.
완벽한 한 발을 위해. 역시 니놈 말대로 어떤 사람이라도 맞출 수 있는 마법의 탄원. 징계팀 직원이라면 당연한 판단이긴 해. 잘했다는 내 탄원이 향하는 곳은 언제나 가. 필연적으로.
It's so funny. I love it how when you use the ego with the second bullet specifically against a single target enemy, it just literally does nothing. It's hilarious. She's literally saying like, I didn't miss. You just don't know what I'm aiming at. Even though she just very clearly missed. There's no denying that.
잘했군. 이건 칭찬 스티커 감인데.
승객이 딱콩 한 방 먹었어.
I was honestly worried a little bit about corrosion here. Because if she doesn't end up corroding, then she'll corrode into the magic bullet ego. And that means that if that happens, we're basically dead. Because, yeah, she will get the 7th bullet and then shoot herself. Not something you want to happen.
대성공이야. 가령 신나. 노래 부를까?
이래서 장비는 속성별로 준비해달라고 부탁해놨었지. 적재적소했으니까 이만큼 효율적인 일도 없잖아. 헤스드 같은 놈들은 이 광경을 좀
Didn't
봐야
corrode. That's good. Also didn't shoot the sword down, so that's unlucky, but you do have one turn of leniency in terms of not actually breaking a sword. Which what I mean by that is you can effectively not destroy a sword one turn in a row, and you can still make it in time for the queen to get the finishing blow. I think we might corrode, actually. It's pretty likely. This is the downside of only having skill 3s. You're pretty much stuck at low sanity. Very close to corrosion. Super threatening. Just looming over us. If we do corrode and we get more than like 2 of the ego skills, we just die. It's unavoidable. Of course, I could just avoid that by using a different ego skill in the first place, but what's the fun in that, you know?
완벽한 한 방. 시원한 걸. 効果的な攻撃でした.
This turn, at least, the only sanity we're losing is from using our skill 3.
칼날이 잘 드네요. 아마 그 공격이 약점이었겠죠?
Because we can actually clash with everything here.
꽤 나쁘지 않은 공격 방식이었어.
상대는 그걸 한눈에 알아보시는.
뭐 기본이지.
This is unfortunate. We have 5 bullets. We only have 5 bullets. I wanted to use the ego skill with the 6th bullet, but it's kind of impossible for us to get 5 bullets. Actually, I have an idea. I want to use the ego skill with 5 bullets, or not 5 bullets, but 6 bullets. Which means we have to tank an attack here. This should work. We gain 1 bullet from the defense skill from the unbreakable coins. We're clashing against everything so we don't actually just die. This should allow us to use the ego skill with the 6th bullet. And we should get the maximum roll of coins, maybe? I can't remember the conditional. But yeah, we did it. Good.
낭망한 마음은 검게 타올라 사라지지도 않는 그저 시리도록 범람할
불사이군. 그치다.
격발 상황이 끝나면
Very fun fight.
방금 상황 녹화되어 있냐고 물어봐. 이 정도면
Now, how do we do enough damage? That's the question.
토끼 따위의 흉내를
I have no idea how much damage is enough damage. I don't know. It's probably enough damage. Maybe. I hope it is.
방금 공격. 다음에 다른 개체에게도 다시 해봐줄래? 영상이 남기면 다른 직원에게 나랑
We forced corrosion for the next fight, but that's fine. It's whatever.
격발
And even if we do end up corroding for this fight specifically, which I think we're going to, because it's not looking like we have enough damage. Unfortunate. Yeah. We're 200 damage short. So close. Oh, but Dark Flame finishes it off. Okay, never mind.
저것들은 언젠가 다시 재생하겠지.
I was thinking we were gonna have to corrode there, but it was fine because we were so low on
교체되는 것처럼
magic bullets that we wouldn't have hit with the
완벽하게 그지없는
7th bullet before we actually managed to finish off the Night of Despair there. Honestly, much closer fight than I thought it was going to be, which is very nice. Ooh. Oh, this one's good, actually. Get an extra attack power up from that. And then for the last floor, why not do the Dusk of Amber?
지금처럼 조용하려나?
Gathering Skull's actually pretty good. For this fight specifically. Bloody Gadget, nice. Real Jelly Perfume does nothing. Let's replace another skill. So close to having nothing but skill 3s. Imposed Weight. Even more attack power up. Huge. And, I guess that's it. Dueling Manual. clear mirror. And that's basically it.
오늘도 즐거운 하루의 시작이네. 그렇지? 잠시만. 볼륨 좀 확인해 볼게. 대답 소리가 잘 들리지 않아서.
Where does it say it? Yeah. When clashing with skills that spend ammo. This is the number one reason why that proves she's not an ammo identity. She clashes against this guy and it doesn't lose its unbreakable coins.
이건 칭찬 스티커감인데.
Technically speaking, even if she was an ammo identity, it still wouldn't lose the unbreakable coins because it specifically says that they need to consume ammo in order for it to lose the unbreakable coins, which she does not do. She gains ammo when she uses her skills. All except for the 7th bullet, of course.
불리한 상황이라도 끝까지 저항해야 해.
Because that is a lot of bleed damage. I should have changed our support passives to compensate for the bleed. Would have been smart. Hopefully the healing we have is enough. It probably isn't. That's like over 200 damage in bleed right there. Yeah, that's a bit too much.
어떻게 하신 거죠? 깜짝 놀랐어요.
I think we have to start with the ego. Because the ego is actually strong enough to stagger the smaller guys.
여기다가 말하면 녹음되는 건가요?
And because of the commemorative coin, it actually has attack weight on the first turn.
역시 니놈 말대로 어떤 사람이라도 맞출 수 있는 마법의 탄원.
방금 공격. 다음에 다른 개체에게도 다시 해봐줄래? 영상으로 남기면 다른
내
직원에게도
탄원이 향하는 곳은
보내주거든요.
언제나 같다. 필연 중. 조금의 우연.
불사 이군. 그치다. 봐봤다.
That is a much, much more manageable bleed stack.
무자비하게 썰어대는 거야.
오, 재미있긴 한데 그래도 마냥 싸우는 것 말고도.
I think so much so we don't actually need to use the ego skill.
딸은 아직 공부가 모자라.
방금 어떻게 하신 거죠? 깜짝 놀랐어요.
제법 좋은 일격이고 저런 실력 있는 해결사가
Ow.
도시에 많아져야 할 텐데 말이야. 저도
Not out of the woods yet. Still a lot of bleed. And these guys do so much damage.
완벽한 한 발을 위해. 격발.
대성공이야. 다른 신나. 노래 부를까?
Dang.
바둑 하나를 처리하지 못한.
It's actually kind of difficult. Because she's not technically an ammo identity.
아니,
Why is she not considered an ammo identity?
내가 선택받은 내가 아니었어. 있잖아.
I think what we have to do is just use the ego more.
항상 인력난에 시달리거든. 너희
Specifically so we're doing more damage to the big guy.
그건
Since it applies Dark Flame current turn instead of next turn.
정할 순 없겠네.
격발.
아쉽다. 그치?
훌륭하구나.
One of the big problems that we're having with this fight is the fact that we don't have enough coins to actually consume all of the bleed count on ourselves.
무엇도 남지 않을 테니.
And so it just keeps stacking up and up and up.
괴로워하는 게 느껴지지 않아? 이 기세로 계속 나아가 보자.
This turn, though, we can actually use the 6th bullet, which is very nice. That should probably do enough damage
완벽한 한 발.
in order to stagger this guy.
낭망한 마음은 검게 타올라 사라지지도 않는 그저 시리도록 범람할 뿐.
꽤 나쁘지 않은
Alright, huge.
공격이었어.
선배는
Now the bleed stack.
절망이었네.
Ah, shit. Wait a minute. Didn't think about this.
정해져 있지.
Damn you, commemorative coin. Damn you.
잘했군. 이건 칭찬 스티커.
Ah, I should have...
아르카나를 처리하지 못한 나.
Ah, there's... The only way to avoid that was by using a different ego.
아니, 어쩌면
To use a different ego first, because if I used a skill 3, then the commemorative coin would have triggered on that, and like using the skill 3 would have consumed the bullet anyways, so I had to use another ego there.
하면 녹음되는 건가요?
I just completely forgot that's exactly what would happen there.
완벽한 한 발을 위해 내게 자비를 구하지 마라. 내 앞에는 무엇도 남지 않을 테니.
와, 엄청난 공격이었어. 기념할
Stagger.
걸?
And this guy why is he the one using the 3 coin skill, man?
까딱하면 지겠는 걸.
So annoying. Okay.
좀 좋은 생각 없어?
We're in the same position we were before, but this time we have to use another eco before the magic bullet skill. Just so the commemorative coin doesn't kill us. Can we use this one? It is a single coin, yeah? Yeah. I want to use this one because it heals. Well, actually, technically speaking, we don't need to use that ego this turn because... Yeah, we don't need to use the first ego because the commemorative coin will actually not trigger because we kill the small bong bong as well. I'm just trying to think if I want to use the second ego or not. It's probably safer. It's definitely safer. I should just do it. Just to guarantee that the commemorative coin doesn't kill us. Because I am very worried about that.
완벽한 한 발을 위해 믿지 않아. 나는 분명 가위를 내겠다고 했을 텐데.
해냈구나. 나라도 그랬을 거야.
And this should stagger, hopefully. Give me a crit.
원망한 마음은 검게 타올라 사라지지도 않는 그저 시리도록 범람할 뿐.
No crit.
잘했군. 이건 칭찬 스티커 감인데.
Thankfully, it doesn't do enough damage. Sheesh.
격발적
저기 저 개체부터 처리.
Evil bongies. Do we use the ego again? Maybe. But if we do, we start corroding, I think. No, it's fine, because we... The kill... I don't know. I'm gonna say no to using the ego this turn. Might be a mistake. I think it's fine.
대성공이야. 칼은 신나. 노래 부를까?
이거 봐. 한 상체를 제압하는 건 우리 충분하잖아.
개체들의 체력이 많이 깎여나갔어. 괴로워하는 게 느껴지지 않아? 이 기세로 계속 나아가.
And of course, the one we don't stagger is the one using the 3-coin skill. Typical.
봐봐 딸, 이게 슬래시고 이게 스릴러지. 피가 촥촥 튀기면서 무자비하게 썰어대는 거야.
This turn, we can use the ego.
그래도 마냥 싸우는 것 말고도 해결사 같은 멋있는 서사가.
There's a good chance that
아직 공부가 모자라.
yeah, okay. I think we're finally in a good position.
완벽한 한 방에
All right, I think we finally beat this fight. The bleed damage is not going to be a problem anymore. We have plenty of healing, yada yada yada. Anyways, now that we're finally in a position where I can talk about things that aren't the game,
가려먹는 모든 것을 침묵시키고 지평선을 따라
there is something I wanted to talk about. And that's the potential buffs that could be given to this identity.
격발.
칼날이 잘 드네요. 아마 그
Because this identity definitely has that feel of like early Limbus, you know, where she's decent, but also, wow, all skill 3s. Not the greatest, I'm gonna be honest. In fact, this might actually be really bad, because I don't want to corrode into the ego. And with nothing but skill 3s and a single enemy, that's pretty likely. I think I can use 2 skill 1s. Technically 3 with the commemorative coin, and we'll be fine with sanity. I don't want to do any more than that. Anyways, as I was saying, some potential buffs they could give to this identity that I think would be pretty good, honestly, and pretty well deserved are ones that are specifically tied to the ego, similar to how Solemn Lament Yi Song, as well as the Queen of Hatred, Don Quixote, how they end up interacting with their respective egos. I am very... using the defense skill is evil, though. I don't want to do that. Because that loses some even more... I just have to use a different ego. I'm gonna be honest. We just lose too much sanity. And I can't risk... I cannot risk corroding into Magic Bullet.
완벽한 한 방에
Anyways,
지겹고
some potential buffs that she could have are similar to how Solemn Lament Yi Song, as well as
지겹고 이 몸이
Queen of Hatred, Don Quixote, how their egos interact with their respective identities.
그렇게 하는 거 맞아? 거의 손방망인데.
And specifically what I mean is, like the Queen of Hatred, I believe that if she uses her ego skill, it should give her access to an extra skill 3, because one of the biggest problems this identity does have is that her Dark Flame application just isn't that good
나도 그렇게는 안 했을 것 같은데.
when you take into account,
많이 피곤해?
like,
완벽한
when you take into account all of her skills, right?
격발.
Because, effectively,
그치 딸.
once she reaches 4 magic bullets, the only way for her to actually gain more is by
잘했다는 칭찬은 생략하는 게
using her skill 3 or her defense skill. There is no other way for her to actually use it, basically. Without using the ego, of course. And because of that, since you don't want to actually, like, ever use her defense skill, considering the fact that when she is using her defense skill, she can't apply Dark Flame, the best way to actually play her is to use her skill 1 as much as possible when you are at more than 4 magic bullets, because her skill 2 is virtually worthless at that point.
내 아르카나 슬레이브 정도의 수준인걸? 한 번에
And so by giving her that sort of buff where if she uses the ego skill, it gives her access to an extra skill 3 in her
계속해보면 좋을 텐데.
skill pool, that just makes her bullet cycling much more efficient, and it would make her substantially better. And then the other 2 buffs that I would also like to see are, first of all, it would be nice to just give her an anti-stagger effect like how Solemn Lament Yisong has. That would just be nice quality of life type things. So not that important, but decent. And then the last thing, which is also pretty important, is I would like her to also have something that actually makes her a poise identity. Like how Solemn Lament Yisong becomes a tremor identity when he uses his own ego. She already has a bit of poise in her own kit, but not very much. So it wouldn't be that far-fetched to make it so that her actual ego makes her a poise identity. Considering, what is it exactly? Yeah, if the main target's defense level is lowered by 4 or more, which happens with Dark Flame, then she gains poise before the attack, equal to the burn on the target. So she already has poise in her kit. It wouldn't be that far-fetched to turn her into an actual poise identity by making it so that, like, when she has the ego equipped, like how Yisong gains the, how he gains the ability to apply tremor, how she would like gain, I don't know, poise count whenever she uses a skill, so that she can actually maintain a poise stack when she does gain poise potency through her passive. It would definitely be a nice quality of life thing, I think. Not too crazy. But definitely would make her feel a lot better to play. Hope this can kill. It'd be annoying to have to try and do this fight again. Gosh, her sanity drain when you have nothing but skill 3s. It's really annoying. I kind of wish I didn't take that many skill 3s as I did. Would have made this fight a lot easier if I had some other skills to use. Oh well. Anyway, that's definitely the most, like, realistic way they could actually end up buffing this identity, is by, like, giving her ego an up to 5 and slapping a passive on there that gives her the poise count and the ability to use an extra skill 3. This fight is super long, by the way, like, holy. It just keeps on going. Probably gonna corrode like an extra 5 times before we're finished. I think this fight would be a lot better if it was just like 2 waves shorter, honestly. I don't know. It's fine, but
젊을 적에도 굉장하셨다고 했어요.
완벽한 한 발을
could stand to be a little bit shorter. Oh well. She's a strong identity and deserves to be buffed
이
with
정도면
like an uptype 5 on her
가치가
ego skill, I think.
관리자님이 명하는 것이라면 탄원은 어디든 무엇이든 누구든 관통해냅니다. 설령 사랑하는 사람일지라도.
And that's how I beat Mirror Dungeon 7 hard mode using only Magic Bullet Outis. Very fun identity. I do hope they give her an uptype 5 on her ego skill, or just buff her in some capacity at some point in the future. Like I said, give her an extra skill 3, make her an actual poise identity, and that is pretty much enough to make her much more viable in the current state of Limbus Company. Anyway, that's it for me. Like and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!